Hello, and welcome to Pagelets, brought to you by The Authorized. Here at The Authorized, we're all about finding and working with newer authors, putting them in the spotlight, and giving them an opportunity to share new or debut works. At Pagelets, we want to take a snippet from their book and showcase it as a short podcast. For our fourth release, we heard some chat on Twitter from some folk who find it difficult to read their work aloud. Thankfully, Pagelets is there to help. In a first for The Authorized, we had the opportunity to work with an author on something much more personal than ever before, a reading from a memoir. Ryan Rae Harbuck released the story of her journey to now, after losing the use of her legs and finding herself in a wheelchair at 16. It's more than just usual adolescent angst that Ryan has been through, but you'll need to read the book to find out all the twists and turns along the way. Her book, When I Grow Up, I Want to Be a Chair, was released in early March this year. As is becoming the norm for Pagelets, we talked to Ryan about where we could take a reading from to give you a sense of the challenges she has overcome without giving away a milestone from the overall journey. Trust us when we say you want to read about it after you've heard this short section from pages 10 to 12. Perhaps had I more strength or less of a decorated plastic tortoise shell, I would be able to manage the ramps on my own. But it was immediately clear that I wasn't going to be able to. This was one of the most valuable lessons I have ever learned. Right then, I knew I was going to have to do two very scary things: figure out another way and ask for help. The ingrown lesson of figuring out another way was not the one that grated on my soul. Hearing the echoing notion in my brain over and over again, "You need to ask for help," was one of my ruinous concepts. My world felt upside down ever since my accident, but this felt downright unfair. I didn't want help. I didn't want to need help. I certainly didn't want to ask for it. Unfortunately for me, this wasn't something I could just grow out of easily. I already felt I had lost so much in my accident. I didn't want to lose my last remaining drop of independence as well. Asking someone for help would certainly tarnish all the adolescent milestone medals of honor that I had proudly adorned over the past few years. I learned to successfully drive a car by myself, hold a job at the local car wash, and even open my own checking account in my name. I was on the road to becoming an independent adult, and I wasn't about to make that U-turn. But for the past 3 achingly long months, I did move backwards. I did swing into that U-turn. I did lose an actual sense of myself. I was forced to become completely reliant on others to bathe, dress, and care for me in a way I'd known only to my former infant self. Being 16, you take all your effort to show the world that you can do it, and do it without anyone's help. And now, I had to ask a nurse to help me sit on the toilet. I swallowed both pride and fear, and asked Adam to help me. My thoughts were confusing. How could I not manage a ramp on my own, and expect someone else in the same position to help me? I asked for his help anyway. It was most likely a very pivotal moment for both of us. My grandmother used to tell me that putting the word very in front of a word actually seemed to lessen the intended impact. However, in this case it was in fact very pivotal. Adam was in the trenches of learning a lesson about masculinity and regaining independence, whilst I was in the middle of learning a more subtle yet powerful message of true human independence. For the first time since the accident, I was feeling what life was really going to be like from this borrowed wheelchair of mine. Life would never be the same, and I was going to experience many more instances of needing help up hills and over obstacles. I was going to have to be okay with that. I was going to have to learn to smile and appreciate the fact that the mall had even constructed these ramps in passive courtesy for this new identity of mine. I was also going to have to learn to have the guts to wander off to confront those ramps in the first place. Likewise, I was going to have to learn to be patient and courteous to others, even when I didn't want the help or desire the company. I was going to have to learn that my life was going to be different than I would have ever imagined it to be before. As Adam and I paraded through the mall and caught the attention of every eyeball in the place, I let all the insecurities of my newly broken body fall in the distance behind me. Those insecurities, although following uncomfortably on my tail, were not taking me over, and because of that, I was free to laugh and play and feel like myself. That self that I'd abandoned on the side of the highway with the rest of my uninjured teenage body and brain. When I Grow Up, I Want to Be a Chair, a memoir by Ryan Rae Harbuck, is available as an ebook from internet retailer Amazon. Pagelets is an X7 media production on behalf of The Authorised.